Whether you're new to cryptocurrency or an experienced investor, the AMP token may pique your interest as an appealing investment possibility. AMP was originally released to the market by its creators in September 2020, and it's worth more than doubled in its first year. Having said that, its value remains at 5 cents per token. AMP cryptocurrency, is it a good investment? To put it simply, yeah. Flexa, a financial app developed by AMP's parent business, is also available. Flexa chose AMP as their preferred cryptocurrency after launching it. This strategic approach aided AMP's growth in the first year. Flexa can now boast $1.4 billion in completed transactions at any given time as a result of AMP's expansion. With AMP as collateral for every Bitcoin transaction, there is no risk of fraud or contract default. The Flexa platform is used by at least 41,000 retail outlets in the United States to conduct digital transactions, giving AMP significant clout. AMP tokens can be simply used for transactions by anyone who has a digital wallet such as MetaMask or Trust Wallet. What makes AMP tokens unique? AMP tokens are distinct among cryptocurrencies in that they function as their own smart contracts. AMP can be used as collateral in other cryptocurrency transactions, such as those involving its parent cryptocurrency, Ethereum. What exactly are smart contracts? Smart contracts are similar to traditional loans. Smart contracts, as opposed to being manual and requiring procedures, processing, and approval, run as programs based on established rules. When the rules are met, blockchain technology recognizes it and initiates the contract. Because they reduce transaction times, smart contracts are a watershed moment for cryptocurrency. The Ethereum cryptocurrency platform, for example, processes 13 transactions per second. This may not seem like a long time until you go to the grocery store or buy a cup of coffee. An Ethereum transaction may take much longer to process at peak hours. Smart contracts dramatically reduce transaction times. Prediction of AMP's price. AMP cryptocurrency made headlines in June 2021 when the value of one-third of the biggest cryptocurrencies plummeted by roughly half. During the same time frame, AMP and 2 other cryptocurrencies were the only 3 to increase in value. But what about the future? AMP cryptocurrency is expected to reach 8 cents by the end of the year and 10 cents by early 2022, according to experts. This means that investors will have a good short-term return. With cryptocurrency influencers such as the Winklevoss twins investing in Flexa and AMP, AMP may get enough legitimacy to continue developing. Keeping this in mind, experts anticipate that AMP will be worth 50 cents per token by 2025. Last words. Investors should have a long-term plan in mind while investing in cryptocurrencies, as they should with any other cryptocurrency. AMP is getting enough attention that it's worth taking a gamble on. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of AMP is that it is entering the market on the first floor of smart contracts, helping to create the groundwork for cryptocurrency's future, as well as other amplifier-related news. Let's have a look at AMP. This equates to a market capitalization of around $2.5 billion. It is the 70th largest cryptocurrency. It has the fastest transaction times and is accepted at 41,336 establishments. That sounds impressive, but it's like getting accepted at Subway or something, so it's still early days in that regard. Let's get started. What makes AMP so intriguing? MacDonald, Chris, that's a really good start. To be sure, I believe it is critical to maintain things in context. I've only recently begun looking into amplifiers. Flexa designed it. It's an Ethereum-based open-source protocol. AMP has the advantage of providing lightning-fast transaction times. The main source of frustration for many crypto users is that while attempting to transfer money via any blockchain, they will encounter 2 issues. One is that there will be fees involved, and in the case of anything based on Ethereum, as you mentioned previously, there are gas fees that can be quite large. The same is true for Bitcoin transfers, as well as the speed. How long does it take for a transaction to be completed? Even if you pay the higher gas prices for a quick transfer, it could still take a few minutes. When it comes to paying reduced costs, it could take a half hour, an hour, or even longer depending on how many transactions are happening through the network. AMP, on the other hand, has stepped in to remedy this problem, and this platform achieves so by requiring collateral from the parties initiating the transfer. Essentially, if adequate collateral is provided, a smart contract will execute. If the transaction fails for any reason, the merchant will be rewarded or paid in AMP tokens. What this means for the commerce utility or use case underlying crypto is that it makes merchant transactions more safe. They can be certain that they will receive the money owing to them, comparable to processing a credit card transaction or something of the like. And quick payments are a way of life that we take for granted. But in the crypto world, that is not the case right now. The AMP overcomes this problem, and it is a pioneer in this field. Other networks are doing similar things, but they are also using AMP's non-inflationary token. I believe we mentioned it briefly throughout the show. There is a limited availability. From a macro standpoint, it's absolutely a fascinating token to look at from that angle. And as you indicated, the company has worked with a lot of partnerships to expand its current network across a number of genuine enterprises. There is a real-world application. As you mentioned previously, we look at cryptocurrencies in terms of utility, and AMP is absolutely producing usefulness for its consumers. Bleaker, I know people are going to grow weary of hearing this, but on a scale of 1-10, where does your interest stand after some preliminary research? Definitely higher, McDonald. For the time being, I'd give it a 7 or an 8. I believe that speed is an important consideration for me. When you evaluate the various blockchain network protocols, there is simply a strong argument to select AMP.